The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to the Beas webinar series. This is Ana Bracho speaking. Today we are going to talk about the Beas script. This is going to be just a basic knowledge for consultant. In our agenda, we are going to talk we are going to have an introduction about Beas script. We are going to talk about the project folder. This is the folder where any customization is going to be. About the Beas script editors, Beas form events, Beas script reference, just the simple reference, a simple customization for screens, and fields, simple customization for the field of our screens. The Beas script, it is a syntax that we can write our own code for our customers. The Beas script is part of the Beas common. The Beas common was written in Power Builder 12.5. However, we don't need to know about Power Builder because we have our own syntax. To connect to a database, Beas connects using an ODBC connection, but also is possible to connect using the DI API of SAP. Also, it's possible to create crystal report that is set up on Beas, and this crystal report needs the database connection, ODBC connection. When you install Beas, the client installation already prepared an ODBC connection that the name is the Beas _ SAP. When we pretend to create our own customization, we have to set up the project folder. This is a folder where any customization is going to be saved. Our customization is going to be in a file that the extension is src file. When we have on a screen that have any customization, we can see in that screen in the bottom part, we can see this sign. This means we have a customization. This small square close to the Beas logo. Our project folder has to be set up by us when we are preparing our database. To set up the project folder, we have to go to the add-on administration and place here a folder for our customer. Our suggestion is that you create a folder per customer, especially because you have several databases. If you don't place anything, the standard folder is going to be used by Beas. When you have a project folder, it doesn't matter if you update Beas, the system never replaces any information that is inside this folder. On this folder is also the place where you have to put any crystal report that you customize for your customer. It's going to have the same behavior of your customization. When you update Beas, the system is not going to update any file that is inside this folder. We have a script editor. You can open this script editor in any screen. Anytime that we are going to create customization, we have to open the screen that we pretend to customize, and we can open the script editor for this screen. In the top part, we can see also the name of the screen and the file extension src, which means we are creating a customization for this screen. We also have a debug windows. The debug windows is a screen that you can use to check what happened when you run your code on Beas, but and also you can see the Beas code. You can also try to understand errors when you have any error using the debug windows. But and also the debug windows have more information about the variable available for one screen or the name of the fields in the screen. Not only the names, also that the data type is available on this debug windows. We have several ways to write our Beas script. Uh, the, Today we are going to see only one of them, but I want to show you the several ways that we have on Beas, because in this way you can manage the whole possibilities on Beas to create our own customizations. The first way to add our customization is related to the screens. We can catch the Windows event. This means any event that happen at the screen, like a click in a button, like a click in a field, when the after the value of a field change, or when we open the screen and when you close the screen. You can catch that moment and place your own code to check something in the database, or to send a message to the user, or show more information to the user, for example. This is caching our Windows event. We also have an option to catch other events, that is the program event. The program event, it is a kind of event that happen during certain processes in the system. Like, for example, after create a work order, you can catch the moment after create a work order. It doesn't matter which screen you use to create the work order. If it was from the MRP or was from the sales order, you can run your own code after create the work order. There is other processes like after good issues, production good issues, or before the good issues. Also, you can catch in the program event before the process happen, probably because you want to add your own validation, and probably you can stop the processes in case there is not the your validation is not okay, and you pretend to stop the processes. Depend in the logic of your code. There is both the Windows event and program event. Both are saved like a src files in our project folders. We have other way to work on Beas that is not through the events and write our own code. Other option, it is the Beas services. Using the Beas services, you can schedule tasks. In this way, scheduling a task, you can run your own code. For example, you can create a task that every night run the MRP and then send some emails, or send update some values in the database, and send message to user, for example. So you can run the BIA services for that. Also, you can run the BIA services every hour, for example, to catch information from another database and place this information on BIAS. This is very common when people pretend to collect information, for example, from a machine, and probably the information of the time receipt is there, and you can take this information and create automatically time receipt on Beas every 1 hour. We have other ways that external programs connect to Beas. In the case of the external program connect to Beas, we have the option that the Beas common table. In this way, we allowed that the external program send some instruction to Beas, basically Beas script instruction that is saved in a table, that is the Beas common table, and that is in our database structure. And Beas anytime check if there is a new structure there and run the structure internally, the instruction internally. But another way that we have that external program or your own add-on connect to Beas is using the add-on connector. This is another way to allow that other programs or add-ons connect to Beas. Today, we are going to focus only in the Windows event. Just simple examples about validations or more information using our Windows event. To use the Windows event, it is because we pretend to catch some event on the screen. One of them is when you open the screen or after the screen it is created, for example. We can catch the moment when you delete, use the button delete, or when you try to press the button new or the update button. Also, we can catch when an item or a field in the screen change the value. This is with using the item change. But also is available clicking an object, clicking in a field, or right clicking a field. Other options is close the screen. This is some of them, not all of them. When we have this event, we only need to create a syntax like this, Windows event. We place our type of the event, open, post open, or new, and finish with an event. Between this syntax, you can place your own code. And the Beas script is possible to send messages to the user. The message is possible like a pop-up windows, or is possible also using the SAP status bar, this bar that appear in the bottom area of the screen. To write a message is very simple on Beas. You can say message, or you can say message box. Both are possible. In this way, using message box or message equal your message, this is going to be like a pop-up message. But if you use a type, any type available here, it's possible that the system display this type in the status bar. And the status bar could be also like an error or like just a green message depend on the type. Other type of message that we have on Beas available, it is a message like a questions. Normally a message, if it is in the status bar, is just to display the message and the system is going to continue running the code. When we have a pop-up windows, normally the system stops the code while the user press the button OK. But we only have one button, that is OK. But and also it's possible messages like questions where the system is going to display a yes button or a no button. In this case, we can create in our code, it is yes, go to this function, it is no, go to this function, or just finish the process. So we have several types of message on the system. It is important that also we can read the values of the object in our screen. Any field that is in the screen is possible to read the value in our code, but not only read the values. Also, we can set the values of this field. For example, it's possible that at the moment that you open on a screen, you can place default values in some fields. So you can use this functionality. You can catch the moment when the Windows post open and then place the default values to your fields. To connect to any field in the screen, we have to use the item object. And to set the value of an item object, we are going to use the set item. But then also to read a value of any variable available on Beas. To get the value, we are going to write the name of our variable between the signs of the less than and greater than. In this way, we read the value of the variable. When we place in this way, we read the values. We also can apply some format to our values. Numeric format, date format, for example, if we know that we are showing a date, for example, it's possible that we can show the date in a specific format depending on the country, for example. So we can apply some format just between our signs again inside the variable less than and greater than. After the name of the variable with a comma, we can place the format. The values of the format is available in the different format that we have available. It is in our help file. We have other variables available on the system, that is the system variables. When we talk about the system variable, it's a global variables. The global variable, for example, like the current user that is connected. This is a global variable. The item is only connected to the screen. If we close this screen, we don't have the values of the fields of this screen. And also, we can create our own variables. We can create our own variables. And the way to create our own variable is using the set bar. If we want to create our own variable, we use the set bar and the name of your variable. When you want to read your variable, you have to use also the signs less than and greater than. This is for any variable on the system, item, variables, or system you have to use to read the value. We can also create some objects on the screen. Some of them are text. This is like a labels objects. We can also add buttons or also drop downs. This is one of them. To create any object on the system, we are going to use the syntax create equal, and here we are going to place the name of our object, our type of the object, text, button, or drop down. And after that equal, we are going to place the properties of our object. There is several objects available depend on the object. For example, if we place a button, we have a text property, we have a position property to place exactly in the position of the screen where we are going to place our item. If we have an image, the system have another property that is to to provide the image. So we have several images. If we have several images, you have to place only the name of the property equal the value and separately by comma. It's also possible create SQL statement on the system. We already are connected to the database where we are. If you have opened SAP, we are connected anytime to this database. You can create your own SQL statement using the instruction SQL equal, and then you can write your SQL statement. This is a simple way, but also complex statement is possible to place it. To read the values of our statement, you can use the words, the variables word1, word2, word3. So depend on the name of the column. This is going to be the column 1, this is going to be the column 2, and so on. We have another useful instruction on the system that allows you to create your own query and show the result in a separately screen. This is very useful because many times your customer asks for more information about an item code or more information about the quantities in the inventory, and you can create this. You can use the isql instruction to create your own query and show this information in a screen. On Beas, it's not possible like the SAP Query Manager save our query. This is one way to save the query and also catch values on the screen to complete the information of our query. It is possible also customize in a simple way the fields in our screen using the control double click over our field. This is a simple way that the system allow us to customize our field, allow to protect the field, make it visible, just change the color of the field or place some conditions for the field. So that's possible in a simple way without no BS script. But at the end, the system is going to place this information in our project folder. It is important for you that the future of BS with the BS script is an integration with B1 app. This integration is not released currently, but the idea with this integration is that you have the option in an easy way to create the BS script. With the BS script and B1 app integration, you can create in easily customizations for business processes, or you can create flexible format with conditional options. You can add and move fields easier just with a drag and drop on the screen. Add buttons, right-click menus, and icon in an easy way. Also, the system is going to help you with the syntax of those customizations. You can define conditions and event. This is going to be released in February of the 2018. We already have a demo version to test, but release for customer will be next year. It is important to use in our future the B1 app integration with Beas. You will need the B1 app license to use it. To know more about the Beas script, it is important that you also go to our Beas documentation, because any reference, any additional information, properties, or more information about the program objects are there in our Beas script help file. I suggest also you visit our YouTube channel, and uh, you can find a list of videos related to the Beas script with some tips about the Beas script. So now let's go to the system to see what we are talking. First of all, I would like to show you about our Beas documentation. In the Beas documentation, you can find here the Beas script reference. This is the Beas script documentation. Beas script reference, for example, is we pretend to create a button. It's here. You can see the syntax. You can see the several objects that we have available and all properties available to use it. In the bottom part of the documentation, you can find videos, but and also some examples of the Beas script that you can use in your own system. You can copy them and use it in your own system. The first activity that we need to do, it is make sure that you have set up your project folder. If not, you are going to use the standard folder. To set up the project folder, you have to go to the administration add-on manager. In the add-on manager and the project line, you have to go to the edit, and we have here customizations, customer specification, directory, customize windows. In this field, you are going to place the name of your folder. Normally could be the name of your customer. For example, if I open this directory, you can see the all S or C file that I have available on this directory. And the project folder is probably that you have several folders related to several customers. When you need, if this value is empty, this means that the system is going to use the standard folder. We always have a standard folder by default. If not, you can modify the name here and update the value. I already set up my folder. Let's create a simple example of our Windows event. We are going to use, for example, let me use the screen item report. And I want to create here in the item report the hello world message, for example. As I mentioned, we need to place a customization in our screen. We need to catch an event of this screen. I'm going to take advantage of the event post open, that is after the all objects at the screen are ready. To do it, we need to go to the tools, extension for clients. The extension for client open our Beas script editor. You don't need to install anything else on Beas. We already have available with the Beas license, with the standard license on Beas, we already have available our Beas script or our editor. this editor is going to be improved for the next year. It's going to have some changes to make possible that you write in an easy way the code. To start to write my code, I just need to create my event, write my code here, my Windows event, which event I'm going to open, and an event. You have to be careful to don't place, for example, 2 space or 3 space, because this is a syntax language. If the system don't detect in a right way, probably doesn't understand our language, our instructions. So I am catching the moment when we pause open and I'm writing a message, hello world. In the editor, we can find in this area the part where we can write, but and also in this part we find objects available at the screen. The item objects, all fields available on the screen is going to be here in the data windows object inside item objects. All fields are available. The system is going to display after the item the name of the field, but and also the data type of the data type of the field, and also the value, the current value of this field. So after I'm ready, I'm going to say save script. If you see, the system is going to save this file in our Beas script folder with the name of the screen. This article browse is the name of our screen with the extension of our own code, that is src. I'm going to close. I need to close the screen because I'm catching the moment when the system opened the screen. So I need to refresh my code. I'm going to open again my item report, and you can see that the system display my code. You can also use our debug windows to see if your code run in a right way or not, for example, just to review your code. But then also the debug windows allow us to know the name of our field. Sometimes we need to create a query or we need to create a report and we don't know what is the name of the match code in the database, for example, or we don't know in the bill of material what is the name of the table, for example. So we can use the book windows also to know the name of the field, but and also the name of the table. To open the book windows, you can go to the view system information, and if Beas is running, the system is going to open the debug windows. The debug window have several information, and also you can use it to report errors on Beas or to create tickets on Beas to send more information to the support team. But any time that you do anything on Beas, the system is going to show here what the system is doing. The detail how the system display this information depends if we are in the level 1, 2, or 3. Higher level display more information. Normally, when we need detail, is enough with the level 2. If we display a drop-down, at the drop-down, create a query in the database, we can see, for example, the query that was created and to see this drop-down. This is what the system is going to show. It's not possible to see all VS Code here, especially because some lines call sometime an object, and we cannot see what happened inside this object, but at least we can see that call this object. This is also useful if we are trying to detect an error, why we have an error in the screen or a value, or to understand, because if you see what Beas is doing, probably you can also analyze what happened. But the most important part for this screen now is you can see the name of your field. If you see in the top part of the screen, if I go over a field, for example, the match code, I can see that the name of the match code, it is after the item. I can see the name of the field is u underscore match. And the data type is a chart of 50 character. But the name of the table, it is in the OITM. This is the name of the table. I don't know how is the name of the bill of material, or what is the name of. I can also use this information to know, because the system can show here other field, like this is Beas STL. This is useful when you need to create, or you need to know the name of a field for queries, for reports. This is useful for that. You can use the debug windows also for this information. Well, let's show you other example of our Beas script. I'm going to open this screen that I already have some example here, especially because in this screen I add new buttons on the screen. To create button, I have to use the instructions create. If I go to my tools, extensions for clients, that anything that I save is going to be saved in my project folder, I can catch the moment of the window pause open and finish the event to create my buttons. As you see, I create the button, a name of the button, because I need a name for refer to this button, and the text for the caption of this button. We can also use other 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 parameters like width, height, or also X and Y to position the button or the label or any object to a specific place of the screen. So I create 3 buttons here: my first button, my second button, and my third button. When you create a button, you need a second event, because you need to catch the moment when you click in a button. How we catch this moment? We create another event. Windows event, click the name of the button, and end our event. Between those instructions, we add our own code. This is an example how we can set our own variables. If I want to refer to a value of the screen, I can use any value of item here. However, we can also create our own variables. To create our own variable, that the variable only can be used in our screen, because when we close this screen, the value of this variable is going to disappear. To set a variable, we are going to use the instruction setVar equal the name of your variable, and then equal the value of your variable, which can be, this is a string value, but can be, for example, can be a number, but we don't need to declare the data type. So if you see, I create two variables here. Also, we can create separately functions, probably because we are going to use the same function several times. To call a function, you place the name of your function and this sign. If you want to create your function, you are going to say global space function and the name of your function. To finish, in global. Between those instructions, you write your own code. If you see, I place in my function, I set one variable, I set the second variable, and I also create another variable with both values. In my both values, I use a select instruction to link both values, my variable 1 and my variable 2. To read the values of the variable, you have to use the signs less than and greater than. This is the way to read the values of your variables. Also, I create a message here with the variable, with the value of our results variable, because also this is a variable. We can have also another instruction on the system, that is the open new windows. We can open other Beas screen windows using the open new windows or open windows instructions. After that, you place the name of the Beas windows. You can use the book windows to know the name of the windows. If you see, the src always is the name of the window, but with the extension src. The screen windows on Beas extension is P as R. That is the Power Builder screens extensions. And then if the screen has parameters, we can also place the parameter here. This is an example where in the parameter, I send the value of my item code. It's very simple. When I want to read the value, when I want to set a value of the screen, for example, this one, if I say here double click, the system is going to use the object, that is the data windows, item, objects, and the name of the field and value. Value is the property that we pretend to change. And I can place my own value or one variable, for example. If I want to read the value, get the value of any field inside the screen, for example, if I double click here, let's select product cost, for example. If I select, the system is going to place exactly the same, but between this our symbols less than and greater than. This means that I'm going to read the value, get the value of this field on the screen. I'm going to remove it. So I have one button, my first button, open, set my variables and call my functions. So when I click in my button, want, the system is going to set my variable 1, my variable 2, is going to call my function, and in the function is going to link my variable 1 with an underscore in variable 2 and place a message of it's going to show a message of our result. After that, it is possible to open a windows of this is the item master data window. Also, I'm using the item code that is selected to open this screen depending on the item code that is selected. Let's show you this example. I'm going to close here. This is my new Windows. When I click here, the system summarize or link the total of my variable 1 and my variable 2 separately by this underscore. And then if I OK, the system open my item master data. Depend on the item that I select here, that is the peak cost, for example. You see, the system is able to open my screen with the item that I select. I have another example here using our message. I create the button to show you how to place several messages on the system. In my Windows click function 2, you can see that I can say message click event. This is going to show our pop-up windows. If you use, it doesn't matter if you use message or message box, both is going to works. The message box, if you place the type and the type is failure, this is an error, is going to show the status bar in a red color. I create another pop-up just to have a stop to see the red color and show another with the green color. If you use the OK, the system is going to display the message in a green color. Another example, it is using the questions. When you have a question, at the end, after the equal, it is yes, you can call a function. I say here my user function is call a function. And the system, and also I create a new function here, global function, the name of my function, and global. Inside, just a message, but of course you can do anything. In the syntax of Beas, you can write if conditions, for conditions. You can create several database connections. Also, we are not going to see it. We connect directly to our database, but of course, it's possible to connect to other database also using your Beas script. So let me show you this example calling a function. It is important to know that Beas is case sensitive. If this is the name of my function, you have to be careful to place the lower or uppercase properly, because if not, the system is not going to understand the instruction. So I'm going to close here. This is my message. If you see, show my message first in a screen, a pop-up window. The second one is going to be at the status bar after I say OK. This is an error message at the status bar, or when I say OK, you are going to see a green message. This is the way that the message that is questioned is going to appear. Like a yes or no is not only the button OK. So if you say yes, it's going to call your function like this. For example, call the function. If I say no, doesn't do anything. In my other example, we can also use, this is a very useful functionality. We can also use the iSQL instruction to open another screen with a query. This query is a simple query, but we can create very complex query. When we have a big query with a lot of line, we can use the ampersand to continue with the second line. In this way, you can write in a better way the SQL or read it better when you need to read the code. If not, you can keep in just one line. Well, to use the instruction, I use the button 3 for that. iSQL, you have to play tools equal iSQL equal your SQL query. It doesn't matter, as complex as you want to do it with other internal query, subqueries, it's possible. And also, using variables here. For example, if I need to send the variable of the item code, for example, I can place here the variable of my item code, where my item code is. This my query at this moment is very simple, but you can be as complex as you need it. So when we have tools or ISQL instruction, you are going to see in this way. Your result is going to be displayed in another screen. You don't need to create the screen on Beas, but the result is going to be in this screen with the complete field that you select in your query. Also, this screen is possible to sort or to filter because this is a automatically property on the screen. But and also you can use the print to Excel to Word to convert your result in another document like a PDF or Excel, for example. So that's possible with your SQL query. This is a very useful screen because anytime that you cannot provide more information to the customer directly on the screen where you are, this is especially, for example, in the work order. Probably here the customer want to see the quantities in certain warehouse. To do it on this screen is not easy or is not comfortable. So one way you add a button, you catch the item code, and then you open your query only for the warehouse of this item, just with the information that the customer wants, and you open a new screen. Just with one line on BS, you have this useful functionality. Well, let's show you another example. It is simple example using, for example, I open this screen and I add on this screen additional labels with information that I read in the database using my SQL instructions. But then also I place a default value in my UDF1, for example, and I activate a drop down in my UDF2. To do it, I'm going to extension for clients. First of all, for the labels, I can create the text object, and my text object is going to be labeled at the screen. We are going to use the properties X and Y to the X and Y is going to be the properties to position our object in a specific place of the screen. When you need to check where is this place on the screen, because it's not possible to do it with using the VS script currently, it's just with the information, you can take advantage of other objects on the system and see the properties and check what is the X and Y of these properties. And probably you can have the reference of the X and Y that you want. You can also specify a width or a height, and the text property is to place the information that you want. So I have also here a SQL instruction. I can place SQL equal and then write my sentence in, or I can place directly also. This is the same for both. If you see, I add a select with a specific fields of our table OITM and also the warehouse. And I have in my word instructions, I place a specific fields like the item code or the work order and position that is available in this screen. So I place this value, taking values that is available at the screen. To read every column, this is the word 1, this is the word 2, this is the word 3. If you see, to catch those values, word 1, word 2, word 3. Of course, because I want to get the values, I have to use the signs less than and greater than. In this way, I prepare these labels at the screen. The other part on the screen, it is my default value for my UDS1. If you see my default value, if I want to place a default value of a specific field, for example, you can catch here which field you want to modify. For example, that one, double click the system, directly place the name of the field, and then you can place your value. This is a numeric value. You can place, I don't know, any numeric value. It's not the system is going to ignore. I did it for the UDF1, and I place here an string value, my default value. I can place anything. So, for example, or also a value that comes from the database. So this is a fixed value, but this is an example. And the other part, it is the UDF. To activate the drop down in your UDF, you can do it in this way. The name of your item, the name of your field, and the properties drop down, and use the activate to make possible to activate the drop down for this field. You can do this in any field that doesn't have a drop down. To add the value of the drop down, you can see drop down that directly. For example, a SQL statement. This is drop down is displaying, for example, the several resources that is available on the screen, resource ID and description. Normally, we have to place the value that we want to save in the database first. So if I'm pretending to save the ID of the resource, I'm going to place this value first in the column, in the first column. Let me close this. This is the reason why when I open this screen, I display those values here. For example, the name of my item, the item that I'm producing, how many pieces are on hand, or what is on order, for example. So that was possible because I use my SQL and I create my text object. The other example, it is my default value for my UDF1. And the second one is in the third one is it is the drop down for my UDF2. If you see my ID and my description. This is possible because I use the drop down. And our last example is an example how to create also another script, simple script, just for screen validation using our double click easy customization. So if you open any screen, let me open, I'm going to open the item master data on Beas. I'm going to open this master data. It is possible that you hide a field, protect a field, also place a default value in a field using the control double click over the field. For example, I'm going to use the control double click over DIN. If you double click, you can also say here another my text, another label for this field. You can place a tooltip. This is the example. You can protect this field. You can place bold or italic. Say, apply a format to your anything that you are doing. The system is saving this information at the end in our project folders. If I go here to the tools, extension for clients, I need to save first. Sorry. Need to open. So you see I have here my text. I have here a tooltip that you see it. And also it is in the text, it is in bold and italic because I place it. Or also we can apply a color. Normally this information is saved and the extension for clients. The system saves this information in a Windows event open and the extension for clients. So we can continue creating our own script if we want also here. But at the end, the system converts everything what we do with the double click in automatic script in our project folder. I'm not going to save it. Another part, we can make a field mandatory. We can place a field protected, for example, which means it's going to be there, but it's not possible to modify. We can place a field, we can make invisible a field. This is protected. I can select here, but not select this one. I can make invisible, for example, this field, invisible. And also I can make a field mandatory. For example, let me open the raw material and place in the conditions, say input mandatory. And you can place your message. Enter the value. When a field is mandatory, it's going to place automatically in a red color. If I try to modify without provide this value, the system is going to display a message, our message directly. If you remind my match code, it is invisible. So unfortunately, I cannot double click again over this field. To do it, I have to go to the extensions for clients and check what is the hide property. I can remove, for example, this line to come back again to my instructions. To refresh, I'm going to close this because I need to refresh the values. And you can see my match code is already here. Well, this is everything, all that we are going to check today. If you have any questions, please. If you have any question, please raise your hand and I can open your microphone. Juan.
I'm muted. Hi, is there any way to show in a screen a field that is not standard available?
Yes, it's possible with Beas script, for example. It's very common that you have your own user field, right? That you want to add it in the screen. You can add it using the Beas script. However, the updating this value is not automatically by the screen. So this means you can also have to create your code to read the value and update the value in the database. But of course, it's possible. With the new version of the Beas and B1 app, this is going to be easier to do because we can take the field and just place it in the screen and it's going to be automatically. Currently, you can do it using the Beas script, but you have to write your code to read the value, show the value on the screen, and also at the moment that you update, you need to update also this value because the screen is not going to do it automatically.
Okay. Is it too difficult to show us how to do that, how to add a field?
I have an example here. Let me open. Wait a second. My project folder because I have a simple example for the project folder. How you have to do it now, but it reminds with the new version is going to be easier.
Right.
I have another project folder. I'm going to switch to this project folder.
Okay.
Let me check that it is the right name. I'm afraid I don't have it here. Wait a second. Well, I'm going to place an example on my database directly, okay?
All right.
This is I'm going to the master data. So I'm going to open my master data. I'm going to place a user field that is available in the OITM, but I'm going to place it here in the top. But then also you can link with any specific tab in the screen.
Okay.
So this is a simple example, extension for clients. So if you see at the moment that you open, you need to create the text, the label, and the field, the column. This is another field, okay? We need to catch this field to several ID that is inside of the screen that it normally is the user field 1, 2, 3, and so on. This is at the moment that I open the screen, I paint my label and my text box. This is the text box.
Sorry, if you are doing anything, we are not seeing it on the screen.
You cannot see anything in the screen.
No.
What about now?
Okay. Now, yes.
Sorry.